तदा बंधो यदा चित्तं सक्तं कास्वपि दृष्टशु तदा मोक्षो यदा चित्तं सक्तं सर्व दृष्टशु. It is bondage when the mind is attached to any of the sensory perception. It is freedom when the mind is detached from all perceptions. What is freedom from sensory perception? It is bondage when the mind is attached to any of the sensory perceptions. It is freedom when the mind is detached from all perceptions. Question is that everything is sensory perception. So what is freedom from sensory perception? When the mind is not divided, then there is a quality about it. We will call that quality one. Somebody has said that the sum is greater than the total of the parts. Or probably that the total is greater than the sum of the parts, something like that. What he has said is that 2 plus 2 is 5. I want to talk about this extra 1. The sum is greater than the total of the parts. 2 plus 2 is actually 5. We will talk about this extra quality of being undivided. When the mind is total, then this extra 1 comes into being. When you are not divided, then 2 plus 2 fetches an extra 1. And that extra 1 is the juice of life. You will not get it in 2. You will not get it in another 2. But you get it when there are no 2's left, when there is unity. When fragmentation has ceased. This 1 is a gift. This 1 is grace. But for this 1 to descend, you have to ensure that 2 is meeting 2. When 2 meets 2, then 1 is given as a complementary gift. When you are total, then the mind experiences that extraordinary peace, that extraordinary sense of realization and relaxation. Words are a very poor way of communicating it or even hinting towards it. You have asked, what is freedom from sensory perception? Freedom is that extra 1 which comes when sensory perception is total. What do I mean by total sensory perception? How do we usually proceed? We are never total in the way of our living. Right now, as you are sitting over here, your ears are flooded with my voice. You're looking at me, so there is nothing else in the range of your vision except me. But yet, there is something else that is bugging you. At the back of your mind, there is something humming. There is no totality. There is no immersion. Something else is always there. 2 plus 2 is not happening. There is a 2 and there is something separate from it. The plus is missing. The mind is divided. The mind is divided. So freedom from sensory perception actually means total sensory perception. Freedom is the fruit of totality. You ensure totality, the fruit comes as grace. You can only ensure that you are not divided. You can only ensure that you are not pushing yourself in random directions. You can only ensure that you are available to whatever there is, and that requires faith. For you to be completely present here, you will have to forget what will happen after 9:30 p.m. There is a fear that there is something lurking, that there is an urgent task waiting, that you have to reach somewhere and finish off the pending tasks and the rest of it. And there is a fear that if those tasks are not taken care of, then I might lose something. To be fully immersed in the present requires a deep faith in the basis of the present. Call it whatever you want to. You want to call it God? Welcome. We are never total. Never total. We cannot avoid sensory perception, so that is a given. But then we never allow it completely either. And not only that, it is a kind of heresy for us, a spiritual heresy, to allow sensory perception to be complete. We will start calling it hedonism. We will start calling it being the slave of senses. That, how can you be so captivated and enamored by what your eyes are seeing? Oh, these are things of the material. These are things of the flesh and blood. Sir, you are holding a rabbit in your hands, right? What else is there except sensory perception, and why must there be anything beyond sensory perception? Just look at that creature. Look into its eyes. Let the perception be total. And you will then realize what is beyond perception. But that comes as grace, remember. We are such idiots, we refuse the obvious and we chase grace. You are refusing that beautiful rabbit in your hands. You are refusing to have a complete look at it. You are refusing to absorb the complete presence. The thing that is in flesh and blood, you are refusing it. You are not admitting it. And what do you want? You want liberation, you want joy, you want freedom, and you forget that liberation and joy and freedom do not come as a result of your effort. They are that extra 1, 2 plus 2, 5. You ensure 2 plus 2, somebody else will give you that extra 1. But 2 plus 2 is such a mean thing, It is a thing of the senses. It is a thing of the world. Why must I be bothered about 2 and 2? My prime concern is 1. You will not get 1 without first passing through 2 and 2. You will never be able to go beyond the senses without first soaking it in the senses. You remember we talked of the roots and the fruit. The health of the plant cannot be seen by poking at the roots. It will be seen only by the freshness of the fruit. And that is sensory. The fruit is sensory. You will have to look at it through the senses. But when you are really looking at the fruit, then the door to the root suddenly opens up. It is impossible to love the fruit without being grateful towards the root. But first you will have to look at the fruit. And you can only look at the fruit. Who can look at the root? The day you are able to look at the root is destroyed. Why do you forget that? The day you claim that today I had a look at the root is finished. The root is uprooted now. But we are achievers. We must go and dig the root. Silly, this is silly. Go ahead, look at the world. The world itself will reveal the truth. But you are directly chasing the truth. There is nothing called the truth. You can never target it. Never, never. You can hallucinate that you have had some kind of samadhi, but all that is just exactly that, hallucination. You are creatures of flesh and blood, and be humble enough to accept that. There is this world, and you are meant to live the world in its completeness. But we don't know that. How can you really live when you are so afraid? We don't observe because observation requires courage. We don't witness because witnessing requires stillness. The world itself is sufficient. No other truth is needed. Everything is here. Everything is here. You will hear the anhad with these very ears. I am assuring you. You don't require to be in another state. You will see the prophets with these very eyes. It's all available. It's here. That's why Ashtavakra repeatedly talks of Swakshendriya. Let the senses be clean. With clean senses, you are able to see everything. You do not require to then go to another world. You do not require to dream of fantasies. The rabbit is enough. You will know everything. Hold it properly. Treat it with care. Look into its eyes, and you will know. Or the birds, when they are singing, listen to them, and you will know. And it's all sensory. When the bird is singing, how do you hear the bird? Do you hear it using some metaphysical faculty? You hear it using your ears. It's all sensory. But please listen to the bird and you will know, you will realize. Let the insects teach you. You will realize it's all there.